Welcome to ThinkTech, raising public awareness about technology, energy, globalism, and diversification. As part of the ThinkTech series, today's show is The Arts in Hawaii. I'm your host, Donna Blanchard of Kumukuhui Theater, and joining me is my guest, artist Garrick Pakai. But first, we're going to go to some ThinkTech news.
Good afternoon, this is ThinkTech Hawaii. I'm Jackie Young with some local tech news of interest. Surveillance drone use and development is on the rise in both the military and civilian sectors, as reported by Civil Beat and the Star Advertiser. And now the Marine Corps in Hawaii says it's expected to get a dozen RQ-7B Shadows, followed by 45 RQ-21A integrators, along with the relocation of the Marine Unmanned Aerial Vehicle Squadron 3 from California to Kaneohe Bay. The Shadow has a 14-foot wingspan and a 375-pound maximum takeoff weight, while the newer integrator is 16 feet across and has a 135-pound maximum weight. Both are propeller-driven, and both can fly upward of 15,000 feet. The Marines are working on an environmental assessment for the relocation of the squadron and about 270 personnel, with a draft assessment expected to be released for public review in October. A final decision is expected in 2014. Elsewhere locally, Hawaiian Telcom, through the past year, more than doubled the number of subscribers to its television service on Oahu to 13,600 households, and has expanded the reach of its fiber optic lines to about 1/3 of the island's homes. The Star Advertiser reports Hawaiian Telcom crews have been laying fiber optic cable around Oahu to provide the bandwidth needed to support the TV service it began 2 years ago. The company so far has installed enough fiber optic capacity so that 100,000 of Oahu's estimated 300,000 households could receive the service, the company reported in its quarterly earnings report. Its goal is to gain an additional 50,000 homes a year. Growth of the TV service, high-speed internet subscribers, and revenue related to its acquisition of Wavecom Solutions Corporation were major revenue drivers for Hawaiian Telcom in the second quarter. However, the early retirement of debt and several other one-time factors curbed the company's profit in that quarter compared with the same period a year earlier. Finally, on the Big Island, astronomers using the Subaru telescope on Mauna Kea have found the lowest mass planet ever detected around a sun-like star using direct imaging techniques. Most so-called exoplanets are found when they pass in front of their star, making it dim ever so slightly or causing small gravitational wobbles in the star that can be seen in a light wave shift. The planet discovered is several times the mass of Jupiter and similar in size, and is glowing dark magenta from the heat of its formation only 160 million years ago, the research team reported on Monday. While direct imaging, in this case in near-infrared wavelengths, is arguably the most important technique for observing planets around other stars, it's also the most challenging. The research is part of the Strategic Exploration of Exoplanets and Disks with Subaru, a project to directly image extrasolar planets and protoplanetary disks around several hundred nearby stars using the Subaru telescope on Mauna Kea. The 5-year project began in 2009. That's been a look at some local tech news on ThinkTech Hawaii. I'm Jackie Young. Now back to your programming.
Today we are going to talk about Improvaganza in Hawaii with my guest, Garrick Pakai. And remember that we broadcast live on the internet at 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock every weekday. All of our shows are streamed on Ustream.tv and Spreaker.com. And if you want links to live streams or any of our previous broadcasts, just go to thinktechhawaii.com. And if you want to join us in our downtown studio gallery for any of our shows, just write to j@thinktechhawaii.com. Garrick Pakai is the artistic director for On the Spot Improv and the executive producer of Improvaganza, the Hawaii Festival of Improv, which is September 26th through the 29th this year, 2013. And he is an all-around swell guy I'm really happy to have here. And he likes the term swell.
I do.
It's a good term, and I think it describes you well.
Does it? Well, I'm glad. Anytime you can bring out that old lingo back, sure, that's swell.
I'll throw it in there.
Yeah.
It'll be groovy. Okay. So let's start off by tell us when, what, where is Improvaganza?
Improvaganza is Hawaii's only improv festival. that's dedicated to improv in all its diverse forms. That's from improvised drama to improvised comedy to even improvised dance. So we like to celebrate everything about improv and what you can do spontaneously and in the moment with an audience and whatnot. It goes up in September, late September, 26th through the 29th. And we featured at Kumukua Theater as well as the Arts and Marks Garage. We've been doing Improvaganza for 8 years now. So this will be our 8th year doing it. So we didn't even think we would get this far into it with this many acts coming down.
How many acts do you have this year?
27, 28. We're trying to negotiate with 28 right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's just one weekend. It's a fairly short span of time.
Yeah, 4 days. 4 days.
So our shows, I know we have shows at Kumukua Theater and at Mark's Garage. Are they running consecutively?
The first night is our opening. We call that the opening ceremony. So that's only at the Arts and Marks Garage, and that's on a Thursday. And then Friday, Saturday, you have 2 shows going on at each venue. So there's 4 shows happening on a Friday and 4 shows on a Saturday.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I'm really excited about it. I wasn't able to take part in any of it last year, and we didn't. Kumukua wasn't involved in it, and I just love the idea that in this really happening area, that where they're come in and have dinner or come in earlier and do a little shopping.
Sure,
and
yeah.
And hang out and go for a drink and go to another show. God, I love it. I love the energy.
Yeah, and it's all different shows too. I mean, they're as diverse as from the cities that they're all coming from.
And name some of those cities.
Seattle, Austin, Texas, San Francisco, California, Hawaii, Paris, France. So we have quite an eclectic group this year coming down.
Wow. Have you always had international groups?
Only when they can come down. We've had a group from Sweden come down, I think in 2010. So that was pretty awesome because what they did their show in Swedish, German, French, and then in English too, and it was a musical. So they were doing all those languages like spontaneously, and it wasn't like none of the audience members could understand them, but they all had a great time because they just knew instinctively what they were talking about or what they were singing about.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Now that's really cool. All right, so let's make sure that we say, how do people find out about where and when?
Okay, you can go to improvaganza.com and you'll get the full list of performers, their bios, where they're performing, what time they're performing, and tickets should be up shortly.
Okay, so you can purchase your tickets online. You'll be able to purchase individual tickets for how much?
They're $10.
And you have passes.
We have passes. We have all access passes. You can go on our website and see if we still have some more available because we only limit to 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Okay, and you're doing a really good job this year. It seems like you've really stepped it up as far as making the information available.
Yeah, we try to. We try. That's our main goal, is to make sure that people know that the festival exists.
What are some of the highlights that you talked about the Swedish show from last year? What are some of the acts that you think
one group that was a really good group that we were happy to bring down, and we didn't know them at first. They were called Parallelogramophonograph. It's a tongue twister. I like to call them P-Graph because I often mess up their group name all the time. But they're very similar to On the Spot. They do genre-oriented stuff, and it's just the core members of 4. Like my group is a core member of 4. So they brought down a French farce, which was incredible to watch.
They so it's not scripted at all?
No, it's not scripted at all.
They chose a French farce that they all...
Yeah, they studied the genre, kind of figured out what the elements were, and then put a show together based off of stuff from Moliere and all the things that was in French farce period.
We'll talk more about genre improv, definitely. Let's hear more about some of the other, did you have anyone last year who did dramatic improv?
No. No, actually no, I take that back. Yeah, we did. We had a group from Seattle, from Jet City Improv. They have a really great theater program over there. They're called Wing It Productions now. And they brought down Bunker 13, which is also a group that's going to be featured at Kumukua this year. They do a Vietnam-based improv show. So it's a bunch of guys stuck in a bunker, and they're just kind of talking about what they want to do once they get out of the war, or what's happening to them right then and there. Sometimes there's gunfire that they have to fight back, but it's a pretty heavy show, as well as pretty funny too, because it is improv. So the spontaneity of improv really makes it kind of funny. So you could do the most dramatic piece you could think of, and it'll still come off as fresh and funny and kind of clever.
I can't even imagine. I don't think I was involved in improv in Chicago.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen dramatic improv with that sort of intention.
Sure, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. My own group did a show called Telltale Dreadful, which was based off of the macabre stories from Edgar Allan Poe and Charles Dickens. So we were doing these really brutal, murderous stories, and it was extremely funny because sometimes the crowds didn't know how to act. Because we're telling such horrible stories, and we're making light of it, and they really had a great time. It's kind of like when you go to a horror movie, I guess, and it's so ridiculous that you can't help but laugh.
Sometimes you laugh.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes there's a great tension release.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm fascinated. I love the idea. I love the idea of improv. I came to see your show last weekend, the Puppet Improv, and we'll have some time to talk about that as well. But I hadn't gone to see an improv show in a while, and I remembered one thing that I love about it so much is the community that you have with your audience when you do it, because we are there breathing with you, and you can't help but be aware, especially in the intimate space, right. Mark's Garage. But also we are there with you creating the pieces. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, 100% the audience is a part of the show, no matter what. So they are a piece of the puzzle that we need for us to perform.
And we're with you on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you know that if you took the same piece and you scripted it exactly as is and took it in front of another audience, they wouldn't laugh in the same places because they don't have a part of it.
Yeah.
They're not involved.
Yeah, you have to be in the moment too. You can't really, I saw this great improv show, there's a guy standing on his head, and some people will be like, I don't get it. That doesn't. But you have to be in the moment, and that's what improv really is. It's about the spontaneity, the moment that you discover something. And it's not only the audience that discovers, oh, that's pretty funny. It's 9 out of 10 times it's the performer on stage that thinks, oh, this is clever. I didn't know that was coming out of my mouth.
Yeah. It's very Eckhart Tolle. Theater of the moment. So, did you have anyone last year or in recent years who's done improvised dance?
No. This year, Hawaii group. And from my knowledge, they are the only dance troupe that's been accepted to an improv festival, Spatial Spatulas. Yeah, so normally stage improvisers kind of really think of being funny in the moment and whatnot, where the dance improviser is thinking about form, function, and whatnot. So we're very pleased to have them come to our festival and to be like really the first group to actually be a part of an international festival like this.
And where are they? They're here on the island?
Yeah. So it's a collective of different dancers. They get together, I think, bi-weekly, and they practice together, and they come up with new forms and whatnot. So we were very excited. I really wanted them to be a part of it. Yeah.
How do you do with ticket sales? Do you sell out most of the shows?
Sometimes, because we have late shows and whatnot. So the late shows don't normally sell out, but the 8 and 8:30 shows, they normally go out like crazy.
8:30, and how late is the late show?
10 and 10:30.
Oh, okay.
So
that's understandable. It's a little harder to sell.
Well, this year we're trying to double book them. So we're trying to figure out specials for if you go to the early show, if you want to stay for the later show, we'll give you a little bit of discount.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
You should work out specials with some of the bars in the area.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
If you go to both shows, you get just throw that in there. You might want to think about that. What other kind of acts are you have?
Fun Bucket. It's hard to explain Fun Bucket. Basically what they do is they take a giant bucket and the audience brings in stuff and just throws it into the Fun Bucket. And what the improvisers do is they come up with something strange to do with the objects. I will give you an example. I saw them in, here, someone brought a bag of Bisquick and put it into a fun bucket. And immediately they ripped it open and started throwing it all over the place. And I think they started playing with snow angels in it. It was bizarre. But because they actually go the distance, it's a new way of thinking what you can actually do with improv. You know, stretching the boundaries really, and it really is a playful medium between audience and performer, because sometimes they'll yank people up on stage. The last time they came down here, they handcuffed each other, and they couldn't find the key, so they had to do a whole show with two guys handcuffed to each other.
I think I saw a video of that on YouTube.
Yeah, they are spectacular to watch. So we're really looking forward to them coming back. Yeah.
Good. We're going to take a little break. We'll be right back. I'm Donna Blanchard, and I'm talking with Garrick Pakai. We'll be right back.
This is ThinkTech, broadcasting on Ustream and Spreaker both day and night, doing its thing on OC16 and OLEDO, and uploading videos all over YouTube. See the links on thinktechhawaii.com. Raise your awareness on ThinkTech.
Hi, I'm Donna Blanchard, Managing Director of Kumukuhui Theater, and I'm talking with Garrick Pakai, who is the executive producer?
Yes.
The executive producer of Improvaganza here in Hawaii, and we're talking about, we've been talking about what we can expect from Improvaganza this year and what we've seen in the past, but now I'd like to go back and talk about how this started. So, little Garrick. Little Garrick is, were you always interested in theater?
Not really. I actually stumbled into theater. I had one more foreign language class to take at Leeward Community College so I can transfer to Manoa, and they dropped that from the curriculum, and I needed full-time hours. So I was like, you know what, I took drama 221 already, I'll just take 222, and that's where I got hooked into doing improv, because the teacher, Paul Garath, I wouldn't say he has a background in improv, but he has a background in all the training techniques that require you to spontaneously come up with stuff. So I asked him if I could independent study improv for him, and he said, yeah, sure, but whatever you learn, you have to teach to somebody else. So that was the curriculum. So it was like literally, it was trial by fire. So you learn your stuff, and then you have a week to teach it to other people.
So how are you learning it?
From books, really. from books and from exercises that I found. And this is when the internet just started coming up too. So it wasn't like you could Google search anything. I think back then was web crawler, so it's pretty old. And a lot of library books. So I found a book called Truth in Comedy from Del Close, who's like the guru of American style improv. There's also a Keith Johnstone book that I was looking at, which is the guru of everybody else around the world. Everybody studies his stuff. And based off of the exercises that I already was learning from Paul Cravath, I kind of figured, okay, I think this is how you approach improv. So really, my style of improv comes from this bookwork. No one really taught me this is how you did it. I just kind of winged it from there and just took whatever I was learning or whatever I knew and incorporated it into the improv.
Was there anything, had you been exposed to improv in any way, television?
I had knowledge of the short form games, but during that time, Loose Screws was operating. So I had seen a musical that they did at Leeward Community College, and that was actually the catalyst to go, you know, I think I wanna independent study this. So, you know, I'm teaching my classes at Leeward, and eventually I hook up with R. Kevin Doyle, who was the head of Loose Screws at the time, and I auditioned in to do a show with them. And I just got grandfathered into doing the rest of the Loose Screws shows.
Working with them. And how, I thought that you were a part of starting Loose Screws. That had already been.
Oh yeah, that's been established, yeah.
And that was R. Kevin and was Sean involved in that?
He is, yeah, he was. He was in the beginning. And I think Tony was too, Tony Pasculi, yeah.
Okay, so you weren't on this journey alone. You were reading and then you were teaching, but you also had people to play with.
Yeah, absolutely. So the students that I was teaching, you know, to test ourselves, we would go to Borders in Waikele, and we would have the stage. They would let us use the stage, and we'd perform shows over there. So we kind of developed. Okay, I think this is what the audience likes. So we just kind of do stuff like this, these kinds of games, which is really these physical games that, you know, as a performer that I'm kind of known for, physicality and emoting ideas and thoughts and whatnot. So that really attaches to people, you know.
Oh.
And then from there, I started doing more stuff with Loose Screws. And I actually traveled with Loose Screws to Chicago and to Seattle doing an improvised kabuki show, which was which I believe we won an award for innovation in improv during that show. So and that was in Chicago.
Oh, excellent.
So doing those shows really got me not only to do more stuff with On the Spot, but it also got me thinking like, I like these festivals. I would like to see them down here, since I know the majority of people, the local improvisers at the time, can't really see anything. So why not? Why not create a festival? And that's kind of what we did. You know, it was really me, R. Kevin, and a couple other guys that were kind of brainstorming the idea. And then finally it was just me going, okay, I think I have a time at the Arts and Marks Garage. Let's just do it and see what happens.
So how did you get the word out? How did you bring people?
You know what? It's really us during the tours on the mainland, during the other festivals. And that's really where we started getting our name out. Because one, people didn't think that there was improv down here in the first place. And more or less improv that was unique, you know, that developed on its own, that didn't have a philosopher coming down and saying, oh, this is how you do improv, this is how you do this. So they were very surprised at the stuff that we were coming up with for us, which was pretty normal. You know, and improvised kabuki, yeah, that makes sense to us, because we have a background in kabuki already. We might as well improvise it, right? So that's kind of how we made our name, just putting all that kind of stuff together, and I guess people liking us too, as friends and whatnot. So that's how we also got connections and people to be interested to come to Hawaii. Not to mention it's Hawaii. There's not much a sell.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was part of the Network of Ensemble Theater conference that was here. It's really nice as someone who lives here to have everybody else come to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people don't need a lot of excuses to come to Hawaii.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, so that first year, how many groups did you have?
4, and they're all local groups because at that time it's like I didn't really feel comfortable. I kind of wanted to test the water, see if I liked it. So there were 4 groups. And at that time, 8 years ago, there was only 2 groups that was here on the island. So there was On the Spot, my group, and Loose Screws, and we had student groups each. So one from Midpack, which was where Art Kevin teaches at, and another woman who did a one-woman show that came out of On the Spot and did her own thing and did her own show. So there's 4 acts that first year. The second year we doubled that, so we had 8 acts. So we just kind of asked local improvisers if they could throw something together, and we would put them into the festival. By the third year, we were comfortable to say, okay, I don't know who's going to come to our festival, but I'll just send out an open invitation, and we already made a name for ourselves in Chicago. So they knew about our improv style, but selling Hawaii was really easy. So there's a lot of groups that applied for it and came down. Parallelogram Phonograph, that was one group.
You just said that very well.
I did. I had to practice that in my head a couple times.
That's what you were doing during the break.
Parallelogram Phonograph. And yeah, groups from Seattle that we went up there already. They already knew about us because we went to their festival. Actually, we met a group in Phoenix called Galapagos, and they'll be coming down for a 5th time this year, and they will be the only group that's actually come 5 consecutive times. 1, because they love coming down there. 2, because from what I told them, we throw on a really good festival that's very diverse, and it's Hawaii. It's not a hard sell.
Yeah. Oh, that's excellent. So, this is the
8th year.
8th year of it.
Yes.
And where along the line did your group On the Spot separate from Loose Screws? How did that happen?
We've always been. It's kind of weird because there's a theory, at least with I guess with any kind of groups. You have the first group that kind of gets established over here, and then you have another upstart, and normally those 2 groups work hand in hand with each other because it's just the 2 of them, right? I really didn't split off until I think the first year of the festival, the second year of the festival, in which I started doing my own stuff. Started kind of designing, okay, I'm kind of interested in doing this kind of type of show, which I became artistic director of. With Loose Screws, I was part of the ensemble, which we had say, but I didn't really have creative control in that. But with On the Spot, I have total creative control to develop whatever that I think interests me.
And how is it different?
From Loose Screws to On the Spot?
Yeah.
I think it comes down to a UH background to a Leeward Community College background. At LCC, there's a lot of Hawaiian style theater. So the first ever long form that we can think of was a show that we developed called The Paina, and we actually did that at Kumakuhua Theater, which was a homage to all the writers that was writing plays at Kumakuhua Theater. So we had a scene that was like that was a Lee Cataluna piece, a Seki piece, and it was really fun to play local characters that's never ever been performed before. And we took that show to Chicago, and they actually really liked that. We were scared because we didn't know if they would understand us first.
Because they don't know who Lee Cataluna is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's a language.
Yeah, there's total pidgin. The show was done in total pidgin. And we were doing Hawaiian legends and improvised Hawaiian legends that's never been ever told before, and it was pretty fun. So yeah, doing those kind of shows, and that's really where it comes from. The separation between Loose Screws and On the Spot is that I get to kind of pick the shows, and Loose Screws is more of a collective, which is great, but I kind of like doing the shows that I like doing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah.
And they're both still very active now.
No, Loose Screws is defunct around.
Oh, okay.
But the good thing is that 8 years ago there was only 2 groups. Now there are at least 5 working improv troupes or working improv theaters over here. So you have us, which is On the Spot. You have the Laugh Track Theater, which is mainly a learning center right now. You have Improv HI.
Mindy Pennybackers?
Oh.
What's her name?
Shannon
Shannon.
Penny.
Winpenny. Say your name again, please.
Shannon Winpenny.
Shannon Winpenny.
Out of the Laugh Track Theater Company.
Okay.
Yes. Kimmy Balaramo. She runs Improv HI, which is they work out of Kakalako. You have Mr. Aaron, who basically does short form shows and stand-up comedy shows. And I think they're more towards the loading zone area where they perform regularly at. And then there's Improv Hobby, or Improv ED, which is Dixon James. That's Squire and Monica's group company. So they basically run an educational improv for kids. So they go out to the communities and they teach workshops and whatnot. So
I'm glad, we're going to have to take a break here in a second, but I'm glad that you brought that up because I did wonder why there are so many groups. Are they all overlapping? And it sounds like they're really not.
No.
That's good. Okay, I'm Donna Blanchard talking with Garrick Pakai, and we'll be back in just a moment. Hi, I'm Donna Blanchard of Kamukuhua Theater. This show is The Arts in Hawaii, and I'm talking with Garrick Pakai. But we're going to go to Jay Fidel for just a moment, who has a little news announcement.
Oh, thanks, Donna. You know, on August 22nd, it's a Thursday, 2 weeks from now, we're going to have a program in the Plaza Club upstairs. It's a lunch and panel program entitled "Don't Be Afraid to Send Your Kid or CEO to China." We want to encourage people to send their kids and CEOs to China. We call it Stories of Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Happiness in the People's Republic. People worry all too much about what's going on in China. They don't realize that you can have a nice life there. And we have a bunch of people from Hawaii who are having a nice life there, and they're all going to be in the panel. We have Larry Foster and his wife Brenda Foster. They've been living and working in Shanghai for a long time. We have Russell Liu, been working in Beijing for a long time. We have Shackley Raffetto, judge of the Second Circuit, who's now teaching law and judicial law in China. Isn't that fantastic? And we have Derek Brow, who is, he went to school there. He's totally bilingual. All these people have lived in China, and they can tell us how it is getting up in the morning, whether you should take the bus or the subway or a bike or a scooter, what kind, where you have your meals, all that stuff. So we want to show people that China is really not threatening. China is a great place to go, and it will be good for Hawaii to have its people there. August 22nd, a Thursday. If you want to sign up for this, don't be afraid to send your kid or CEO to China. Look at hvca.org. I hope you come, Donna.
I am definitely coming to that one. And we have a show opening that evening, too, so it's a big day.
Perfect.
Thank you, Jay. So, Garrick, let's talk about, you threw out the terms short form and long form.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, can you give us an explanation of those?
Okay, short form improv is the kind of improv that you might see on TV, like on Whose Line Is It Anyways? So basically, they have these set kind of games, and they take suggestions and they create little games within the scene. And they're very short, so which is one of the reasons why they call it short form. Long form, in other words, takes one suggestion and they create a longer piece from it. So some people, they do heralds. Heralds are little formats where you take a singular idea and you create several different scenes based off of that one singular idea. Short form, like I said, is all a bunch of short little games played within the scene. So that's the main difference between short form and long form. But the thing with long form is that there are so many different formats to long form. There's the narrative long form that my group likes to do, which is doing almost like an improvised play. So it's a narrative base. You follow a character's story, his arc, his journey through whatever scenario that we put him through. And that could last from 15 minutes to an hour, depending on the format that we do. There's also formats called an amando, which is you take someone's monologue from a past experience and they create different scenes based off of that monologue. So there's so much you can do with long form as opposed to what you can do with short form. You can play a lot of games with short form.
And primarily what you do is long form, and talk about genre-based.
Genre-based. Okay, so genre is a new term. So genre improv is fairly recent. It's only about 3 years old that the whole improv community has really been going behind it and kind of exploring what you can actually do with genres and whatnot. In Hawaii, we've been doing it, at least my group has been doing it for a long time because that's the only type of improv that we kind of knew how to do because we were already familiar with these other different theater styles, and we kind of just figured, oh, we just improvise our blocking and our lines based off of that. So genre improv is literally you take a genre and you create it and you translate that for an improvised stage. This year at Improvaganza, we have a block of shows that we call the Grindhouse slot, and those are all Grindhouse movie-based shows. So we have a Quentin Tarantino show that's coming down from Austin, Texas called Pulp Friction. We have a San Francisco group called the Five Deadly Improvisers. They're improvising an Kung Fu movie. And then we also have Blood Squad from Seattle, which is also doing a horror movie. So it's kind of like a theater night where you can actually watch these really awesome movies.
Oh, fun is that?
Yeah.
And the puppet theater.
Oh,
How
puppet.
did your improvisation puppet theater evolve?
That puppet prov seems to be taken off like nationwide. Like a lot of people are just getting into the puppets. It's puppets. Who doesn't like puppets, right?
Right.
We were fortunate that in previous Improvaganzas we had a woman by the name of Elizabeth Westerman, who is a puppeteer. She makes her own puppets and whatnot. She brought down 2 shows for us, which was called Puppet TV or Puppet This. And they were basically doing short form shows with the puppets. So they were doing these games, but they were doing it with puppets. Being that we wanted to translate an improv show for kids, we thought, hey, the puppets might be a really good show. So we asked her for help. She actually sent us 2 boxes full of puppets that she's never used in a very long time. Because they were just sitting on wherever there was in her house. She was like, no, these need to be played with. So she sent it to us. So we have a whole bunch of puppets. And we basically just kind of stole their show. I'm not kidding. I literally stole her show. Because it was kind of easy for us to do. It's short form. We just had to learn how to use the puppets. And that's really how it came down. We wanted to do kid shows, but we found out that adults really, really wanted to see puppets doing adult stuff with the puppets.
Well, you know, I mean, there's a lot of really interesting work that goes into puppets, and you know, psychiatrists use puppets to help people talk about their emotions because you get the puppet talking, and you automatically you can express yourself differently.
Yes.
Through that puppet. So you have these puppets that range from one looks like a hooker type to a little bookworm-looking guy, and one kind of resembles the Cookie Monster.
Yeah, we have monsters and
monsters and people, and these puppets are just laid out on the stage, and according to the work that you're doing, people grab the puppets, not the other way around.
Yeah.
At least when I saw it.
Yeah, so whatever game or whatever character that we want to put into that puppet, we just grab the puppet, we puppet up, and we basically try to create a character spontaneously from that.
Puppet up.
Yeah. Actually, there's a Jim Henson show called Puppet Up. We actually stole a lot of their stuff too. I'm not ashamed about that. I stole people's ideas. Yeah, They used to do a show on TBS, but these were really good puppeteers. So, and it's Brian Henson, really. So he does a show. He does a live show too.
Oh, I hadn't seen it before. I saw it right here in Chinatown, and I loved it. And I think, have you ever done any dramatic improvisation using the puppets?
It's hard to do it.
bet.
Yeah, it's super hard because everything that comes out of their mouth is super funny. Even if it's like we're doing a very dramatic. If I'm using the puppet monster with the fur and he's trying to do a really dramatic piece, it doesn't come off as dramatic. And not to mention the way you have to manipulate your hand too is a totally different animal. Yeah, so you can try to emote as much as possible with the puppet, but sometimes it doesn't come across like that. If you're a good puppeteer, I think you can, but I'm not a good puppeteer.
You guys did a lot of really good work, and there were plenty of times while I was watching that I completely forgot about the head and body behind the puppet. Yeah.
Yeah, because you saw us. Yeah, it wasn't like we were behind a curtain or anything.
No, you're right there.
Yeah, we're right there.
Moving the hands and
But we wanted you to see that. We wanted you to see that that there were two shows going on. So you had the show with the puppets, and then you had the show with the puppeteer behind it, and how he would manipulate everything.
And you took short form exercises and turned it into
that became the game.
Everything tied together. It was really nice, I thought. So you've done regular shows, I don't know what to call it, legitimate shows. You were in Troilus and Cressida.
Yes, I was.
And you've had a lot of background in regular theater before this?
You know, I did stuff at Leeward Community College. I directed stuff at Leeward Community College too. And I did some commercials for Oceanic, and you know, a lot of people recognize me from the Wholesale Mattress Company. Yeah. So a lot of people, when they see me, it's like, I know you from someplace. I know you from someplace. And then when they actually realize it, they're very happy. So it's kind of cool being recognized like that. So.
Oh yeah.
It is. It's really cool.
You're associated with mattresses and cable.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it is.
But people know you. So you prefer improv to stage? I don't know what to call it. I don't want to call it legitimate because it sounds like a smack and it's not. You know.
You know what? I'm actually trying to get back into a lot of scripted work.
Oh.
We should call it that. Scripted work.
Okay.
From unscripted, and basically because as a writer and a director, because all the things that I've created throughout the years, I thought this would make a really good show. A few years back, we created a screwball comedy show, and that's one of the scripts I kind of want to bring back. But I want to totally script it out. So there's stuff like that I'm really interested to get back into. Improv is my first love, so I will always come back to that. But sometimes you kind of just want to see what else I can do with the stuff that I already know.
Yeah. And so you're writing. You mentioned that. Have you written pieces that are completely scripted?
Yes.
That have been performed?
Yes. Well, before I started doing improv full time, I was nominated for Polkella with a piece that I did for Leeward Community College called World Blend. And these were stories that I collected from all around the world. And I created them in a story theater, that traditional LCC style of theater. So that was nominated for Polkella. I came back 13 years later, or 12 years later, and I did Jane Austen's Zombie Apocalypse, which was really fun.
Yeah, I get to see a little bit of that at the NetFest.
And this current piece that I'm doing, it's a screwball comedy based off of the 12 Dancing Princesses, which is a fairy tale that I love. And it's about a mob boss who can't control his daughters, who go out every night to go swing dancing and come back with holes in their shoes. So that's the next project I'm totally doing.
I thought that Jane Austen and the zombie apocalypse was just incredibly inventive.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was, the two genres in itself is pretty cool to mash up.
Yeah.
And then researching Jane Austen was kind of cool too.
Well, and I thought it was coming off of the books, Jane Austen and Zombies and the Abraham Lincoln Vampires.
Yeah. It wasn't. If anything, it was my love letter to say, I hate you. I hate you, you books. Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. I really disliked the book. And I wanted to see if Jane Austen really was going to write a horror piece like that, how would she write it?
Oh,
So basically, I took everything from Jane Austen and kind of just inserted the zombie elements into it. Like, what would she do? Well, how would she write it? How would her characters react to stuff like this? And I thought I did pretty well.
I think so. From the excerpt that I saw, I thought you did very well. We're going to take one final break here. I'm Donna Blanchard. The show is The Arts in Hawaii, and we're talking to Garrick Pakai of Improvaganza, Hawaii.
I'm Jay Fidel. This is ThinkTech Hawaii, broadcasting live from the Pioneer Plaza in downtown Honolulu. We raise public awareness about tech, energy, and globalism in Hawaii. Technology is critical to our state. A vibrant tech sector will give us new prospects in the global marketplace and will offer great careers and make our economy more resilient. Streaming live on Ustream and Spreaker, ThinkTech allows its hosts and guests invaluable opportunities to report important events and discuss important questions, and to be heard here in Hawaii and around the world. You can find links to our live streams on thinktechhawaii.com or on our mobile website, m.thinktechhawaii.com. And you can see our archive on YouTube. It's all just a click away. We want to do whatever we can to keep Hawaii relevant, connected, and thriving in the complexity of the 21st century. We hope you will help us in those efforts. Tune in today. This is ThinkTech. I'm Jay Fidel. Mahalo.
Hi, I'm Donna Blanchard of Kumukuhui Theater, and I'm talking with Garrick Pakai of Improvaganza and On the Spot Improv. And we were just chatting about there's all of these different groups, improv groups that are on the island. For the most part, all come together during Improvaganza.
Yeah. And that's one of the cool things that our festival does, is kind of, it brings in the local groups to kind of help out for a bigger cause and whatnot. So we definitely have a lot of local groups involved in this year's festival. Think Fast and Long is Mr. Aaron's, his team. So their company team is coming out. And then Improv HI News. So that's another group from Improv HI. They do a news show. So the full-on projector screen interviews on the streets and whatnot. So that's kind of a cool show too. I have a student group myself. What's in a Name. So they basically take names from people, and they create scenes based off of those, whatever name they're given, basically. So we have a lot of groups locally represented, and spatial spatulas. Sorry. Spatial statues. I just call them spatulas. I did. That's horrible. It's horrible. Spatial statues. They're the first improv dance troupe to ever perform at an improv festival. So they're a local group too.
Okay. Yeah, I think you called them spatulas earlier.
I did.
As a matter of fact, because I meant
horrible.
to say spatulas, really. And your group, like the puppet theater, the show that I saw, how often do you do that at Mark's?
We are scheduled to do a show at the Arts and Marks Garage the first Saturday of every month. So if you just come out to the Arts and Marks Garage on the first Saturday, we are more than likely performing the show there. Sometimes they're genre-oriented shows. Sometimes they're like the one-off shows with the puppets. We do a variety of different shows, but basically whatever we think would be a good show to perform that month, that's kind of what we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's your audience?
You know, it's a lot of different people. I wouldn't say we have a set audience. Yeah, in fact, this last show that we did, like I would say over half the audience is people that's brand new, that have never ever seen before, which is great for us. And it's great for the improv scene in general to be, to have people come out to improv shows locally. Because we do have a lot of shows going on in Hawaii in general. I think Mr. Aaron does a show twice a month, and Improv HI does a show monthly. So there's a lot of stuff going on over here.
There is a lot of stuff. There's a lot. I noticed, I was looking at the Hitting the Stage website today, and they had a listing of the shows that have gone on over the last year, and there were, I counted them, 54 productions that are scripted on this island, plus we have all of this improvisation going on. And I mean, literally, if you go see, you can't see everything if you see one show a week.
Sure, yeah,
you have to see more than that. But there is literally something for everyone because of that. Which
is the great thing, and I would say the bad thing about the art scene in Hawaii is because there's so much you can choose from, right? So it's literally sometimes you have great houses, sometimes you have small houses. But the win situation is that the audience, your audience, whoever audience goes to see art, they see something great and awesome at the same time too.
Yeah. Well, I never feel like no theater company is in direct competition with another unless you're running the same show at the same time.
Yeah.
And you'd almost have to be running the same show with the same cast to truly be in competition.
Right.
But I think anything that brings people into my theater is going to help bring them into your theater.
Yeah, absolutely. But also we also compete with the nightlife too, in Hawaii too. So the beach, because the beach is free and whatnot. Because people still do go night surfing or whatnot.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff to do here in general. And again, it's a great thing about our art scene is that there's so much you can pick from. If you feel like seeing a Shakespeare show, in fact, I think there's another Shakespeare show that just opened up. I think 12th Night or whatever.
Oh yeah, that just opened last week at the Mission House.
So there's a lot of art you can see in Honolulu at least.
Yeah, I hope we never get to the point where we're diluting our audience too much and we're each only.
I don't think we can ever do that with the sheer population here that's in our state.
Yeah.
But getting new people to see theater is kind of a challenge too, you know, and that's where I think that's the diversity of the acts that are here, both improvised and scripted stuff or dance stuff or whatever. I think that's the good thing. If you get somebody to come see your show once, they're more than likely going to see another show someplace else.
Yeah, and maybe my theater can be an entree for people to come to yours.
Absolutely.
And vice versa, because anything that gets you to sit in the dark with a group of strangers, you know, and be a part of something, not just watching something, you're a part of it, that's good for all of us. And the education opportunities that you offer.
Yes.
So let's go through all of those things.
Okay.
How do people find out about what you are doing?
Okay, so with On the Spot, you go to otsimprov.com, and you can find the schedule of our shows as well as the schedule of our classes that we're offering. Right now, we're offering improvised musical classes. So if you just like to sing, you should come take our class, because there's no, it's kind of like karaoke, you know, you just go up there, but this time you're just making up your own lyrics and whatnot. So that's been a very successful program for us, introducing that. And then we have our normal improv classes where we kind of take you through the basics and whatnot.
Okay, and where do your classes take place?
The Arts and Marts Garage.
Oh.
And it's normally on Saturday mornings, 10 to 2, so.
Oh, okay. And Improvaganza's website?
Yes, so improvaganza.com. That's all one word, well, except for the .com. And then you can see a list of all the performers as well as the workshops that we're offering. And the ticket sales, which should be up hopefully fairly soon.
And you can get tickets there. And there will also be, if all of the tickets haven't been purchased,
you can purchase them
online,
at the door.
you can purchase them at the door. 'Cause
Yeah.
I know at Kumu we're going to be selling some of the, if there are any tickets left, we'll sell them at the door. I hope all of the shows sell out
Oh, I'm sure they will.
for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, I'll fight to get in. Definitely.
Going to get those tickets as soon as possible. And all of those groups that are coming in, they're footing their own bill?
Yes.
Coming
Yeah, so
in?
basically they come down for, it's kind of like a conference, a con, right? So here's the opportunity to showcase what you do here in Hawaii. And it's not just us. So you got to think that there are other promoters like the Phoenix guys. They promote their own festival. So they're definitely looking out for groups that they would like to bring into their festival, which is really how we got started too. We brought our stuff. They liked us so much, then we invited them back here. So yeah, it's a great network of when you do the festival circuit. So that's one of the things that we offer is the networking possibilities that you can get at our festival.
Okay, cool. And how are you are you putting them up somewhere?
You know, in past we've actually found hotels for them, but what we're finding out it was cheaper for them to kind of rent a house together. And that's been actually working fairly well. So we've been encouraging them to kind of collectively get together and rent a house together. Because I think it was coming out to like $50 a night for them renting a house together.
Oh, and it's more fun too.
Yeah,
I don't know
it's
why I
really
asked that
fun.
question. I was just curious what you did with all of these people who are coming into the island. Okay, we're about to wrap up here. I really appreciate your coming down
thank you.
and talking, and I enjoyed learning more about all that you're doing. I'm going to be showing up at one of those classes sometime soon, because that improv classes are really a lot of fun if you haven't taken one
Mine
before.
are, definitely.
Yeah, it's a fun avenue toward expression that you just don't get an opportunity to do in regular life. I'm Donna Blanchard of Kumu Kahua Theater. This is the Arts in Hawaii on ThinkTech radio series, and we've been talking with Garrick Pakai of Improvaganza and On the Spot. Thank you very much to our communications director, Chrissy Goffigan, and to Jay Fidel, who puts all of this together. And thank you to Jackie and Ian, who have joined us today to help out. We hope to see them again. Thanks to our listeners, and check back with us next week. We'll have more on the arts in Hawaii. Thanks. Aloha.